Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be an interesting like fantasy type video all about what my ideal makeup collection would look like. This topic was inspired by a comment that I think was left on one of Jessica's videos. I'm not 100% sure. I will leave it in the comments down below whose comment inspired this. I'm not sure, but somebody left a comment saying it would be really interesting to see what your ideal makeup collection looks like, and Jessica brought it to Amanda and me and we're running with it. Believe it or not, this is a really hard video for me to think about and talk about because I don't want to think about what my ideal collection would look like. It's probably a good thing to do, but it's hard. If all of my highlighters are my children, how do you pick a favorite child? I don't know. It's not easy. So that being said, I've decided to try to weed through my entire collection and pick out what my ideal collection would look like out of everything I have. And it's still probably more than what a lot of people have or need, but I think I did a pretty good job, and it is a fraction of what my overall makeup collection currently looks like. Because I've been talking about this whole cruelty-free topic, I did also try to focus on as many cruelty-free products as possible. I'm not 100% cruelty-free out of all the products I pulled, but I'm like 90%. So I tried to keep that in mind as I was pulling products for my ideal makeup collection, since I am considering going completely cruelty-free in the future. So I'm trying. The first thing we should start with is primer, because that's the first thing I put on when I do my makeup every morning. I have chosen two. I do live in a climate where we have 4 seasons, and my skin does change quite a bit from the winter months to the summer months. So for the winter months, I think something like this Becca First Light Priming Filter would be good for the winter months, something that creates a little bit of brightness, a little bit of glow, a little bit of moisture. This would be my ideal winter foundation. For the summer though, I need something that's a little bit more mattifying, and for that I chose my Too Faced Primed and Peachy Cooling Matte Skin Perfector Primer. I think these two could get me through the year very nicely. For foundation, I have chosen 3. I have chosen the IT Cosmetics CC Plus Color Correcting Full Coverage Cream. I still really like this product. I think it's really good. Mine is in the shade medium. I think I should probably go a shade lighter in this foundation to get the most use out of it throughout the year. Medium only really works for me in the summer months, but I like the idea of a foundation that has everything in it, or a CC cream that has everything in it. You don't need to do anything else other than put this on, and you have moisturizers and sun coverage and everything all in one. So I still like this, and I'd still like to keep this. I do also have the illuminating version of this, and that might trump this one, but I've never tried it. So even though I own it, I don't know if I like it more than this. I would love to find that out, but I don't know. So for now, I'm sticking with this one, but maybe the illuminating one would beat this one out. I'm not sure. Again, for foundations, I have different needs in the winter versus the summer. So for the winter months, I have chosen my Hourglass Stick Foundation, Vanishing Stick. Maybe it's called the Vanishing Stick. I don't know. Unfortunately, the shade I have is too deep for me to use in the winter months. This is a perfect foundation for when my skin is on the drier side. It provides moisture and coverage. Unfortunately, this is too dark for me to use in the winter, so I would like to use this one up and eventually buy a shade that matches me in the winter months. It doesn't look too bad, but trust me, it's too dark for me. Trust me. For my summertime foundation, you guessed it, I picked the Too Faced Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation. I think the primer and the foundation go very well together, and I think this is a great foundation to have on hand in the summer when I'm oilier and when it is hot and humid in the area that I live in. So this is my summer foundation pick, and I have the shade Natural Beige, and this is a good shade for me in the summertime, so that's good. The next step I take when I'm putting on my makeup is concealer, and I really like a pinky peachy toned concealer for my under eyes. That's the main place that I conceal after I put on foundation. The Maybelline Age Rewind with the spongy tip, the pinky brightening shade, is still my all-time favorite winter under eye concealer, and the Neutralizer, the more yellowy one, is still my all-time favorite summertime concealer, but they are not cruelty-free, and I don't own either of them currently. So to fill in, I am gonna pick the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. If I was truly going cruelty-free, and I'm not gonna buy the Maybelline anymore, maybe this would be the one that would be it. I don't know. That's a hard thing to say out loud because I am so in love with the Maybelline, but I'm gonna choose this one. I really don't need any other corrector. My main problem is my under eyes, so yeah. The next step I take is cream bronzer, and I like to draw my bronzer on, so I'm picking a bronzer stick. This one is from Model Co. I don't know if this is like the #1 perfect bronzer stick in the world, but I don't know if I'm that picky either. So any bronzer stick would do. Something like this would be perfect. The next step I take is cream blush, and for that I've chosen my How About Them Apples palette from The Balm. This is a cheek and lip cream palette. It looks like this. In an ideal world, I would have, I'm gonna talk about this in a second, but in an ideal world, I would have maybe 4 or 5 different blush shades to choose from, depending on the day, depending on my mood. So I need a variety of cream blushes to kind of go with the powder blushes that I would be choosing. And this palette would do that for me. So I'm picking this for my cream blush. Next is cream highlight, and for that I am choosing my ColourPop highlighter in Lunch Money. I don't know if there is another shade that I would like more than this. I haven't tried Flexitarian. I would like to try Flexitarian, but for now I'm going with Lunch Money. Although I love a cream bronzer in stick form, I love a cream highlighter in this pot form. I don't like a highlighting stick as much as I like a bronzing stick, but for highlighting, I like the pot. It never shows up. So this is what I would go with for cream highlight. Okay, the next step would be setting my under eyes, and I don't think it'll be a surprise to many of you that I am choosing my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I received this as a birthday gift from my brother the Christmas before last. It basically sat in my stash for almost a year without me using it, and when I did finally pull it out and thought, let me try this and see what the fuss is all about, I fell in love. I think it makes my under eyes look so amazing. I mean, half of the way my under eyes look can be credited to the under eye concealing, the cream products that I put on, and the other half, if not 60% or 70%, goes to this. This brightens my under eyes so beautifully. I love this powder. I love it so much. I have to be careful not to over apply because it can make my under eyes look just a little bit crepey if you get too close. But if I apply just a sheer layer, it looks amazing. The next step in my makeup routine is a powder bronzer. I am currently working on this butter bronzer from Physicians Formula. I don't think this is the one. The bronzer that I had in my Pan That palette from last year that has no name, that was depotted and is just sitting in a magnetic palette, is my favorite bronzer that I've used in years. It has a reddish tone to it that I absolutely love. This doesn't have any red to it. It's very, very subtle. So I don't think this is my ideal bronzer, but I don't know what the name of that bronzer is called, the one that was in my Pan That palette from last year, so I didn't want to pull it out and talk about it because I don't even know what it's called. So in the end, so basically what I wanted to say is I don't think this is my ideal bronzer. I don't know what my ideal bronzer is. I probably will not be buying a bronzer for the rest of my life because I have that many bronzers, but in my ideal collection, I would have one bronzer that has a slightly more reddish tone than this one. I don't have to think about that because I got lots of bronzer. For powder highlight, I chose 3. I chose a very subtle, nice, daytime appropriate highlighter. This is the Laura Mercier highlighting powder in 01. It's what I'm wearing today. I do have it in a project, so I'm using this most days, but I don't want to go basic Paula every single day. So I did pick a blingy highlight. And for that, I chose Becca's Berlin Girl. This was my one highlight purchase from last year. And I also chose, let me show you what it looks like. It looks like this. It's blingy and gorgeous. But I also chose a fun shade because every once in a while, you need to have a fun highlight. And so I have this Sephora Golden Hour highlight. This is in the shade 04 Twilight. And it is a beautiful lavender shade, because sometimes you need something fun for highlight. So I would have 3 in my ideal collection. So you guys know I like blush. I like a lot of blush. I have a lot of blush, and I like to change up my blush tones depending on my mood or my eye look or the shirt that I'm wearing. There's a lot of variables that would go into the shade of blush that I would choose from day to day in my ideal makeup collection. Ironically, I wear the same blush every single day until I pan completely the blush that I'm working on, because I'm project panning. I'm trying to get my numbers down. So for 3 years now, I've been working on one blush every single day and I don't change it up. But in my ideal collection, I would have maybe 4 blushes of different tones, and they would all be available to me, and every morning I could choose which blush I would wear. So the first blush would be a pinky nude blush like Party from Tarte. I've never used this. I'm basing this decision based on how this looks, not on my experience of wearing it, but I think this is a beautiful neutrally / pinky toned blush. If I wanted to go something summery, shimmery, peachy, I would go with this Too Faced Baked Blush in Peach Beach. This would be my springtime, summertime blush for sure. For winter, I could see myself using the shade Flush from Tarte. This is a cool toned pink blush, and I think that there is a place for this blush in my makeup collection. And finally, a dusty mauve is a must-have in my stash. This is Dallas from Benefit. This is not cruelty-free, but something along the lines of a blush that looks like this would have to be in my stash. I thought about excluding face palettes altogether, but the truth is I would love to always have an Hourglass face palette in my stash. This is, I don't know how old this is. This is not recent. This is the ambient light, just as ambient lighting edit palette. I'm guessing this is from 3 years ago, if I had to guess. But this is a lovely face palette. There is a bronzer, and then there's a bright blush and a subtle blush. There's face powders right there. The center one's more of a highlighting powder, and then these two are more like face powders. I would like to always have an Hourglass face palette in my stash. In my ideal makeup collection, this would definitely be there, and if not this one, then another one like it. Just some kind of an Hourglass face palette. It's time to move on to eyes. I have a lifetime supply of eyeshadow primer, and I don't have any strong feelings about eyeshadow primers, but I chose either the Lorac Behind the Scenes Eye Primer or the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. Either one I think would be fine. I do need an eyeshadow primer. I don't really care which one it is, but I do need an eyeshadow primer. Let's talk about eyeshadow palettes. I did not choose any small palettes. I did not choose any singles. I would probably allow myself 3 or 4 Super Shock shadows from ColourPop in my ideal makeup collection. But the truth is, what I really want are eyeshadow palettes. And I do have some very high-end eyeshadow palettes in my stash that I've already invested in. So of course I had to include those in this video discussing my ideal collection, because although I do love some very affordable palettes and brands, if I've invested all this money into these palettes, I would probably include them in my ideal collection. I decided to go with the number 7 as far as eyeshadow palettes, and I don't know how I landed on that number. I can't imagine myself ever getting to the point where I only have 7 eyeshadow palettes, but I thought that might be enough. 7 might be a good number for eyeshadow palettes. Another thing that made this difficult is that some of these palettes that I've chosen, I've never actually used. And so I'm going again based on the color story of the palette rather than my experience with using them, because I bought them based on other people's recommendations, but I haven't used them yet. And I'm assuming that I will love them, but I don't know that for a fact, because many of these palettes I've never used even once. But the truth is, these are palettes that would go into my ideal makeup collection. So the first one is the Dose of Colors Friendcation palette in collaboration with Desi and Katie. I haven't used this one yet. Here it is right here. I think this would cover a lot of bases. I do love an eyeshadow that can create a shimmery, bold look. I think a lot of these have the same effect as the Super Shock shadows that I love so much, just a wet, metallic look on the eye. So I wanted to include this in my ideal collection. Pat McGrath. I purchased this trio of Pat McGrath eyeshadows, and although I am not completely floored by Pat McGrath's formula, at least what I've tried from these three, I do think they are really, really good, and they cover all the bases. This is like a warm neutral palette right here. I still have the plastic on top of it because it has the names of the shadows on it, but I think you can see it's a nice warm neutral palette. Here is the more cool neutral palette. That's what it looks like right there. And then of course, you guys know this guy pretty well. This has some fun pops of color that I just love, pinks and purples and peaches and golds. That's lovely. So those three have made the cut. In an effort to not look too bougie, I decided to throw in a low-end palette, and I think it's a fun one. The BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. This is another palette that I've never used even once, but I'm basing my decision on the color story and on what I've seen from other people who use it on YouTube. I think this would cover a lot of bases as far as both color and neutral looks, so this made the cut. Back to high-end, I have two high-end Natasha Denona palettes, and of course, both of them made the cut. The first one is the Lila palette. I have not used it yet. It looks like this. Neutral, pink, purple. And then of course, my green-brown palette, which looks like this. I think with those 7 palettes, I could be very happy. I could create a huge variety of looks. If I was just feeling very neutral and basic, I could go that route. If I was looking for something with a little bit more punch, I would have quite a variety of punchy colors. So I think those 7 eyeshadow palettes would have me covered. I think 7 is a good number to have in eyeshadow palettes. Yeah, I think that would be a serious goal to get towards. Will I ever get there? Probably not, but that would be an ideal eyeshadow collection in my mind. Eyeliners and mascaras are 2 more categories that I don't see myself ever buying any of because I don't think I'll ever run out. I have a lifetime supply of both. But for eyeliner, I do see myself having a black liquid eyeliner like the Stila Stay All Day liquid eyeliner, and then a blue eyeliner and a brown eyeliner and a colorful eyeliner like this one. This is an aqua shade, just for those times when you need a little bit of fun. So I think my ideal eyeliner collection would be 4. I didn't even put a pencil black eyeliner in here. I don't think I really, yeah, I'd probably have 1 more pencil black eyeliner, so 5. 5 would be my ideal eyeliner collection. Same thing with mascara. I have a million mascaras. I can't see myself ever needing to buy one. I'm sure someday I will need to buy a mascara, but I really like the CoverGirl Clump Crusher for my lower lash line, and I don't know what I would settle in on my top lashes. I always assumed that whatever my ideal top lash mascara would be, it would be from the L'Oreal range, because I really like L'Oreal mascaras, but L'Oreal is not cruelty-free. So maybe I would try something like the Milk Kush Mascara or the Hourglass Caution Mascara and see if those, or that NARS Climax mascara, one of those maybe would be the ones that I would try. NARS isn't cruelty free either. Yeah, so Milk or Hourglass might be the way to go for mascara if I should ever use up my entire stash of mascara. But at the end of the day, I think one mascara for my top lashes and one mascara for my bottom lashes is my ideal amount, so 2. For setting spray, I have one setting spray that I would like to have in my collection. I don't currently have it in my stash, but in my ideal collection, it would be the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. That would be my go-to. That would be all I need. One setting spray, the Urban Decay All Nighter. And when I eventually use up my stash of setting sprays, that's gonna be the one I buy. Okay, everything else is lip products. This right here is obviously just a fraction of what I currently own. This is still plenty of options, but I think if my true ideal collection was completely pared down, it would include these products or something like these products, because I don't think all of these products are still available. So I'm not really stuck on the brand, but the overall color story of this collection is what I would be going for. So I would still have a nude lip liner. This is Naked from Urban Decay. I think this is a very nice nude lip liner. I would also have a brown lip liner that I could use for like contouring my lips. This is actually an eye pencil, but it's from CoverGirl. It's in the shade Mink. And then a lip liner with a little bit more punch to it. This is Avon's Soft Wine, and it's the one I'm currently working on finishing. It is a lovely shade. I like it a lot. I've really been enjoying it. So something a little bit deeper than a pinky nude with a little bit more color to it. I love lip crayons and I love tinted lip balms, so I have chosen one of each. This is Maybelline. It is not cruelty free, but I think it's a pretty fair representation of the kind of thing that I would like to have in my collection. I just need to find a cruelty free version of it, but this is a tinted lip balm. This is in the shade, I have no idea. The sticker has fallen off, but it is just a pink tinted lip balm. And when I want just a little color to my lips, this is perfect. I also have this Tarte Lip Surgeons in the shade Elite. I don't think Tarte makes these anymore, but this is lovely. This is a peachy, pinky, corally shade, and it's shiny. It has a minty flavor to it. It's like a tinted lip balm in a stick, and I love it. For lip gloss, I have chosen 3. I have Buxom's White Russian. This is a nude, easy, everyday lip gloss. I've also chosen 2 with a little bit of color. I don't think either of these are still available, but they're from Lorac, and they're the lip luster creams, and I love both of these so much. It's kind of like my ideal liquid lipstick. I don't have any matte liquid lipsticks here, but this is a lip gloss with a lot of pigment and a lot of color, and it's beautiful. Yeah, my ideal makeup collection does not have a liquid lipstick in it at all. I do also have 4 traditional lipsticks. This is kind of a lip crayon. This is the e.l.f. matte lip color in the shade Berry Sorbet. I discovered this when I was shopping my stash for the Trustique matte lip crayon that I fell in love with, and this shade is amazing. It is a purpley berry shade. I love it. Of course, I have a pinky nude. This is Milani's Nude Cream. I've gotten away from pinky nudes, but I just can't imagine my ideal makeup collection not having at least one pinky nude. I've also chosen a fun shade. This is a very bold, hot pink kind of shade from Maybelline. It's called Hot Plum, and it is gorgeous. And finally, for fun, I've chosen Black Truffle from Bite Beauty because you gotta have one crazy vampy color in your stash. That's it. That's what my ideal makeup collection would look like. All right, guys, I hope you check out Jessica and Amanda's videos. I will have them linked down below and see what their ideal makeup collection looks like. I can't wait to watch their videos. So check them out, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.